Hi and welcome to the James product training. Today I will teach you about the James products. What are its functions, what problems can they solve, and how to use them. I'm standing next to the James interactive floor display. This is the ultimate display to showcase the James maintenance products in your store. It has all the products for carpet and upholstery and all the products for hard floors. And in the middle, it has an Apple iPad mini for the interactive part. On the iPad, you can search for over 1,500 stains and what product to use to solve that stain. You can request a maintenance advice. You can watch videos on how to remove a stain or see what we all do behind the scenes in our lab in cooperation with many manufacturers. One of the main reasons why actually many manufacturers worldwide advise the use of the James products. It also can display some product information, so it has really everything inside for the interactive part, and it really acts as an additional salesperson in your store. The display has no true backside. If you mirror the products, the display will look exactly the same from the front as it does from the back. The only difference is, of course, we don't have two iPads in there. We have a flyer holder in the back, and that flyer holder contains our James product catalog. It tells you what we do and showcases our products since we started back in 1927. You've got a handy overview of the various products. It also displays the 10-liter canisters that we have of the various products. It has a handy overview of all the products for hard floors, and in just 2, 3, 4 lines, it tells you, okay, what problem can it solve or what function does it have? Then we go to the carpet and upholstery products, again, an overview of the various products. Also that same overview with just knowing in 1 minute what does what product do. And good to see just a few manufacturers out of the many more that we have that actively promote the use of James products. And good to know that the complete James range is AISE certified. It is a eco label that you can carry on your products, and James carries it on all of his products, the whole product range, if you comply to various standards like the production process, the raw materials used, etc. James complies to all of them. It also includes the James Staindisc. That will be my first introduction towards the carpet and upholstery. The Staindisc is displayed here on the James Starterset, which is the main starting point for people to get acquainted with the James products. The Staindisc has 2 sides, one side for fresh stains, the other side for dried stains, or persistent stains as we used to call it. If you have a fresh stain, that means it happens right now. Let's say you drop red wine on a carpet. We check here because the Staindisc is for carpet and upholstery. We check for drinks, wine, red wine, and we see this blue water symbol. We look for that symbol in the middle of the disc. I see it right here, and the instruction says, and James first started saying that in 1994, and luckily that has been adapted pretty good worldwide, is to take a white cotton cloth, hold it under the cold tap, wring it out, place it on the stain, and don't do anything anymore. Don't dab, don't wipe, don't rub, don't vacuum clean or whatever. Don't use salt, don't use white wine, don't use soap. Those are all myths. They all have various reasons why not to use them. Salt, for instance, can fixate the color into the yarn. White wine, yes, it can maybe remove a bit of the white of the red wine color, but white wine is a lot of sugar. Sugar stays sticky, just like soap, the third example I mentioned. It remains a sticky residue and therefore will attract dirt more than the rest of the carpet, and you will get new stains in a couple of months. All the James products, good to know, we do not cause resoiling. So what is clean today will stay clean for the future. Of course, it will get soiled as the rest of the carpet would, or furniture, or bed, or whatever, but it will not attract more dirt because we do not use any soap components in our products. But this trick here for a fresh stain, believe it or not, but many stains will disappear using this trick. If they won't disappear, very often the stain will be like 70-80% gone, sometimes just a very little bit or nothing at all. It depends on the circumstances, but in either case, you almost cannot go wrong using this trick. I say almost. There are some materials that are very, very difficult with moisture, so also with water. So even a damp cloth like the way we use it now could cause a problem, but that's really just a very minor fraction of the market. In all other cases, this is the way to go without any damage. Let's say that trick did not fully remove the stain. We go to the other side, because that cloth, you leave it there until it is dried up. So if you have a party, that's what you do, you party on. If you get another stain, same deal, you party on. The next day, when the cloth is dried up, it feels dry, you take it away and you see the result. If the stain is not completely gone, we go to the other side of the stain disc where we come to the dried stains. We have the same, about 84 stains on the disc. Drinks, wine, red wine. I see this green square here. I look for it in the middle of the disc. Here it is, and it says James Stainwonder. That symbol that you see here on the disc will also come back on the bottles. So it is very easy to search for the right product, either by name or by symbol. Using this disc, you can solve almost any stain. If not, with the display, including the iPad, you've got our stain search engine. Of course, it's also available on our main website as well. I will zoom in on the carpet and upholstery products first. So we've got the starter set, and this starter set has the three main James products, being James Interior Cleaner, that's this one right here, James Stainspray and James Stainwonder, our stain removal products, a cotton cloth, and the Staindisc, in this case, printed on the packaging. This starter set has actually everything a end user needs to either remove stains or freshen up their interior. It's all in the starter set, so there is really nothing you cannot do. I will start with the James stain removal products first for carpet and upholstery. We've got Stainwonder and Stainspray. The name says it all, it are stain removers. The one is not better or tougher or meaner than the other. We simply serve a certain stain category with each product. For the Stainwonder, it means we serve the stains based on water. So that is your red wine, coffee, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever it is that you have. If it's water-based, it's Stainwonder. The Stainspray is for all oil and fatty stains, or synthetic stains, if you want to call it like that. This is for instance, shoe polish, glue residue, dried paint, dried nail polish, jeans on a chair, stuff like that. With these two products, we can remove up to 98% of all persistent stains. That's not 100%. We cannot clean everything. No one can. If someone tells you they can, please walk away. It's not possible. There are stains that are impossible to remove. Luckily, we can achieve a lot using these two products. Of course, it would be easy if we had just one bottle for stain removal. But if I ask you, red wine or coffee, that's a completely different stain than, for instance, dried glue or chewing gum. That's why we have two different products to be able to remove the most percentage of stains. You don't need a special product for chewing gum either. Stainspray is perfectly adequate to remove chewing gum also. So forget your freezing spray or whatever it is that you had, this will do it. The Stainspray actually has a spray underneath the cap. With interior cleaner, you see the spray head right here. That means you use the product by spraying it onto a cotton cloth, just like the one I showed you. It's just simple cotton, nothing special. You spray it on the cloth and you wipe over the material, and the cloth gets dirty and the stain is removed. You see an immediate result. With Stainwonder, however, we don't have a spray head. We have a flip top bottle that if you open the top, you see a hole, and through the hole, the Stainwonder is gently poured on the stain. So you apply it directly on the stain. There where there is a stain, you apply the Stainwonder, you close the cap, and you sit down and you wait. You don't do anything. Stainwonder does remove the stain all by itself. It works up to 12 hours. So if you have put Stainwonder on the stain, just be patient. Somewhere within the next 12 hours, the stain should disappear. If it does not, but it has improved a lot after the 12 hours, once the stain is dry, just reapply Stainwonder, and often you'll see that the second time, if necessary, it will move the stain fully. Some reviews on the internet, I even see that, for instance, very hot coffee, which is an incredibly difficult stain, we are able to remove after 3 or 4 applications. So that is really a pat on the shoulder. That's really a stain that is very difficult, but we see that it happens a lot. Then we've got the James Interior Cleaner. This is actually the product that is used for everything that is not a stain, but also not clean. That means that it's used for soil that happens, that sets in over time. You don't spill anything, but it gets soiled. The best example is just take a hallway or a staircase. In the middle, you walk over the carpet, that gets soiled. On the sides, you don't walk that much. You see a lot less soil there, so you see a walkway appearing in the carpet. That is just general soiling. If you spray James Interior Cleaner into a white cloth, into a white cotton cloth, you wipe over the material in long sweeping strokes. Don't rub, never dab. Just long sweeping strokes in every direction to really clean every side of the carpet pile in this case. You'll see that the cloth gets dirty and the carpet gets cleaned. You don't need to perform a professional cleaning straight away. You can postpone the professional cleaning if you use James Interior Cleaner on a regular basis. Don't wait until white carpet has turned black. It will never be white again, not even with a machine. But if it turns light gray, or if you have the feeling that it is a little bit smudgy, just try it with the interior cleaner. You can also clean locally. You don't need to clean the entire carpet. Just clean wherever it is necessary. The rest you don't clean. There is no resoiling. The carpet is not, the protective layer or whatever it is not removed or anything. It's, just locally wherever necessary. On furniture, like a couch or a chair, we have something completely different. Almost everyone knows the armrests that they get like shiny and smudgy. That's from skin fats. The sebum that we leave behind, that is set into the armrests, sometimes also on the seat or on the headrest. You'll see a nice light appearance of a sort of stain, but it's just skin fats, gels, sweat, etc. If you react soon enough, you spray interior cleaner on the white cloth, again, go over the material, you'll now see that your cloth will become yellowish. That's the color of skin fat. So the skin fat is transferred from the furniture onto the cloth because of James Interior Cleaner, and your furniture will be like new for years to come if you use this regularly. This can also be used in your car, in your caravan or your boat or whichever. It are all places where this product can be used. We say carpet and upholstery. This product can also be used on leather and synthetic leather. If you clean synthetic leather wrong, that is with kitchen cabinet cleaning products that you use throughout the house, it will start to form cracks in the synthetic leather. This will not, also over time, will not cause those cracks because we don't leave any residue behind that starts to eat itself into the synthetic leather and forms those cracks. So if you want to keep it nice and clean and crisp, just use the interior cleaner. We have one other product that is in the display for carpet and upholstery, and that's James Fibre Protector Eco. All of these products are reactive. As soon as you see something or if you spill something, you can use the advice and or the products and you will clean it. The Fibre Protector Eco is a preventative measure. So you apply this when you buy a new carpet or a new rug or a new sofa or chair or even car or whatever. You apply this when it is new or cleaned. You apply this onto material simply by spraying, let it dry for at least 12 hours, then you can use it again. After 24 hours, it has its full function like the traditional products. And if you then spill something, you will see that the liquid stays on top of the fiber. You can simply clean it with a damp cloth, no cleaning agent necessary, and the stain or the coffee or whatever is cleaned. As opposed to the traditional products, like for instance Scotchgard or any other product that you know of, and also the fiber protector that we used to have years ago. Those products are still based on fluorocarbons. Those are dangerous materials that you don't want to have in the environment or for your health. This product has absolutely no hazardous component inside. It is 100% fluorocarbon free. It is 100% safe. It even is Oecotex certified, meaning it is even food safe. Second big difference, it is without any smell. The traditional products, they smell very bad and you smell it for hours to go. This one, you don't smell at all. If you apply it on a chair here and someone is standing over there, you don't smell anything simply because there is no smell. This is really a truly unique, great product to preventatively protect your material. This could even be applied on wool. The traditional products based on fluorocarbons cannot be used on wool because the wool fat will prevent the product from hardening out. Because this is a completely different chemistry, we do harden out on wool, and you can even use it on wool. Do you want to use it on wool? Hey, wool is the smartest fiber out there. It is not necessary in my opinion, neither would a synthetic be necessary, but many people want it. It is possible. This product can be applied on any fiber. That also goes for the other products, by the way. We don't discriminate regarding fiber. You can use it on every fiber. The only thing is, this is especially suitable, I would say, for anything that is not synthetic or wool. So if we go to bamboo, viscose, silk, cotton, jute, all such fibers that are really difficult to maintain, because maintenance is more difficult if it's not synthetic or wool. It's a simple fact because we've seen so many materials. That does not mean that every viscose is difficult to clean. We've seen viscose that are really easy to clean, or bamboos or cottons, etc. But especially those products that are more difficult to clean, or where water can cause a discoloration or a gloss disturbance. If you apply James Fibre Protector Eco on those products and then afterwards you spill water, you won't see that gloss distortion. So it is a really protective measure in many of those cases. But again, many people want to have the preventative measures. It's all possible with this product on every fiber. So the idea then is, with every sale, and that also goes for hard floors, the idea behind James is we have a starter set for carpet and upholstery. I like to call it soft. We have a starter set for hard floors. I used to call it hard. So whether you sell soft, carpet, rug, furniture, bedding, caravan, car, whatever, if you sell soft, be sure to include a starter set with the sale. Most retailers do it for free as a service to the customer. Here with hard floors, every moisture resistant hard floor, so that's for instance laminate, vinyl, PVC, LVT, linoleum, natural stone, artificial stone, ceramic tile, rubber, cork, epoxy flooring. We can serve all those floors with these products. But if you sell hard, you be sure to include one of these sets, and the customer has everything he or she needs to keep their material clean or to start using it the right way, so that it's really nice according to the way the manufacturer and the client would like to see the floor. So this starter set included with every sale. The Fibre Protector Eco you could add to the sale as an additional measure to preventatively protect the material. I would say this is a gift. This can be an additional sale. As I explained before, these are about 84 stains. On the iPad here, there is a stain search engine, the James stain search engine. Over 1,500 stains are inside. Just plug in whatever stain you have, like white wine. You say it's on carpet or it's on upholstery or on laminate. Search the find button and we will tell you, hey, you need this product, and that's it. For carpet and upholstery, we have two more products that I want to tell you about that are not standard in the display. They can be included in the display. We just combine these products on one shelf. We have different name tags for that as well, so that you have those combined as it does here. And then on the bottom shelf, you can include these two products. This is James Cleansoft and James Cleanmaster. These products are to be used in together with a spray extraction machine. So that is a professional machine with which you can clean carpet or upholstery. It's a machine that has a fresh water tank and a waste tank, and it has a head where spray extraction, the name says it all, a head where the water included with, together with the cleaning agent, in the case of Cleansoft, is sprayed into the material, and extraction, it is immediately sucked out again. So that means you are rinsing the material, which is the professional way of cleaning carpet and upholstery. It is still worldwide the best way to clean the material. It has the deepest cleaning function, so it has the capability of best restoring your material back to as new as it gets. Cleansoft and Cleanmaster, I have two different products because wool, we already discussed it a little bit, is completely different from a synthetic or another fiber. Therefore, for wool, we have a special product, which is James Cleansoft. It has no spray head where Cleanmaster does. That means the Cleansoft, you simply pour it into the fresh water tank in the right mixture, and you go over the carpet or the upholstery, and that's it. You're done. No need rinsing an extra time to rinse out the soap that's inside, because of course also these products from James do not cause resoiling. Very important. So it actually saves you a lot of time, and time is one of the most expensive components of a clean. Of course, you have time, you have the machine, you have the chemistry, but chemistry is only 4%. So if you use the right products, it saves you a lot of time, and the consumer or the end user or the commercial user ends up with a cleaner carpet or upholstery that also remains cleaner for a longer period of time. The Cleanmaster is a product that is for synthetic material and all other materials. It has a spray head. That means I don't pour it into the fresh water tank. I have to apply it directly onto the material, and then using a special microfiber hand pad or a big pad machine is also possible, of course, if we talk about large carpet areas. If you don't have it and it's just a small area, even a cloth or something like that would do. You massage the Cleanmaster into the material, so gently massage it, don't start rubbing, but gently massage it into the material, leave it for 10 minutes, and then with only clean water in the fresh water tank of the spray extraction machine, you go over the material and you rinse once. In the 10 minutes that the Cleanmaster has had the time to work, it has loosened the dirt from the material, and then when you go over the material with the spray extraction machine, the dirt is removed from the material into the wastewater tank, and Cleanmaster actually leaves a very thin layer behind in the material. That residue hardens out and actually forms a protective layer. It's not the same as a fiber protector, of course, but it will have a small protective function for a period of time. Really great products if you want the maximum results. Cleansoft and Cleanmaster are the way to go. So then that's it for the carpet and upholstery products. I will now switch to the hard floor products. I've already explained to you what we mean with hard floors. So it's actually almost any hard floor. I did not mention wood floors or parquet floors because we don't have any lacquers, we don't have any oils. So that's really a special item that other manufacturers focus on. We focus on all the other floors that we can service with these products. Again, we have the James starter set. In this set are 3 products, like in the other starter set. And these are the 3 main products any user needs to take their floor into perfectly good use and to end up with a floor without spots, without streaks. This is it. This is the way to go. It has James Basic Cleaner as product number 1, also on the bottle. We have our daily cleaner, that's James Floor Cleaner, Clean and Quick Dry. We have our stain remover, that's James Remover. We have the cotton cloth again to be used with the James Remover. And instead of a Staindisc, we now have a flyer in the packaging that shows you, hey, maintenance advice, how to maintain your floor properly. Start with James Basic Cleaner, then use the Floor Cleaner, Clean and Quick Dry. If you have stains, we've got the James Remover. And on the back side, we even talk about, hey, what if I want to protect my floor preventatively, or if I have scratches, if I want to remove those, restore those. We've got the polishes, James Semi-Gloss and James Extra Matte. Again, I will zoom into the product later. We've got a Restore cleaning agent for superficial scratches. That's James Floor Cleaner, Protect and Restore. And of course, we talk about preventative measures to, prevent is better than to cure. So think about entrance mats by the door, protective pads under your furniture so you don't scratch the floor. I will now first explain these 3 products in detail, starting with James Basic Cleaner. If you don't work with James, or if you work with James but you don't work with the starter sets, there is a big chance that if you make a sale and you want to do something for the client, you give them a bottle of our daily cleaner, the Floor Cleaner, Clean and Quick Dry. This is only one part of the total solution because you skip one major component. That is James Basic Cleaner. There's a reason why we call this bottle 1. The reason behind it, the idea behind it originally was step 1, and that still applies to this product. James Basic Cleaner is a product that brings your floor back to basics. So back to the state the manufacturer intended the floor to be in when it left the factory. Anything that has come onto the floor that is not 2-component will be removed by Basic Cleaner. Now, you think a new floor, that's a clean floor. No, a new floor is far from clean. If you have vinyl, there is a fatty layer on the vinyl so that you can roll out the vinyl. That fatty layer will start to fight with your daily cleaning agent. You don't want to fight. You want to have a spot and streak-free floor. First, as soon as it's allowed to clean your floor, clean it with basic cleaner so that that fatty layer is removed. If we talk about laminate or LVT, PVC, it's something completely different. Those floor pieces in the box, they are relatively clean. There is no fatty layer on them. But to have them installed in your house, you've got the person laying your floor. He's working with his hands, skin fats. He's working hard, sweating. He's crawling over the floor where dust and all other sorts of dirt is transported onto the floor. When he's finished, that floor is far from clean. Now, based on our experience, I'd say about 60 to 70% of the floors, if you clean immediately with a daily cleaner, it might be all right. But nowadays, with the new homes that have the glass all the way to the bottom of the floor, you've got a lot of grazing light on the floor that always pinpoints you towards the stains and streaks that you have in your floor that normally would not be visible. With that grazing light, you see everything. If you first clean your floor with basic cleaner, you will have no spots, you will have no streaks, even in grazing light. So the first step to avoid a lot of complaints, to have happier customers, use basic cleaner. Now we start to teach people immediately when they use basic cleaner that it's for the initial clean, but also for a thorough clean or a deep clean, if you want to call it that way. That means we advise roughly 2 times per year to take basic cleaner out of your kitchen cabinet and clean your floor. Floors nowadays are becoming more and more matte and they're becoming lifelike because they have such nice embossing. That embossing is like my knuckles. It has higher and lower levels. In these lower levels, that's where the dirt gets trapped. No matter how good your daily cleaner is, dirt will still be trapped here and your floor will start to look, not as bright and colorful as it did before. If you use basic cleaner twice a year, in my personal home situation with a garden and 2 small kids and a dog and a cat, I use it about 4 times per year. All these products, we've tested many manufacturers of laminate, of PVC, of linoleum, etc. We have never, ever damaged the top layer of the floor. So it's safe to use. You can use it more often, or if you live in an apartment and you're alone or with 2 people and not many visitors, hey, there will not be a lot of dirt on your floor, so maybe once a year is enough. But roughly, let's say 2 times a year. If you ever have a complaint, a customer that has tried everything and the floor doesn't look nice, please don't advise him to use our daily cleaner. First, advise them to use basic cleaner, because I don't want to start to fight with my daily cleaner with all that residue that is on the floor, from all those different products, all the dirt, etc. I want to get a fair chance at a perfect result, and that means first use basic cleaner. 99.99% of all complaints are maintenance related. James Basic Cleaner will solve those complaints, no problem. A nice test for you to understand how important basic cleaner is and what it can do. If you have a floor, whether it's in your home or in the office, preferably it will be a tile or a plank floor, so like a laminate or a PVC or LVT. If you've got that floor for a couple of years and you maybe even cleaned it with our daily cleaner but never used our basic cleaner, do me a favor. Maybe even just after the floor has been wiped and you all think it's nice and clean and fresh, take basic cleaner, put it pure on a cotton cloth, and in the middle of the room, just maybe half or 2 planks, start to clean it with the cloth, with pure basic cleaner on it. Just start to wipe a little bit in every direction. Your cloth will be black. Take a new part of the cloth, pour a new basic cleaner on, do it again. Your cloth will probably be gray or even dark gray. There is a lot of dirt on the floor, but for my purpose, we're already done. This is shocking. So your floor wasn't as clean as you thought it would be. But what is even more shocking is what you see on the floor. You think I have damaged your floor, but I did not. What you see on the floor is not a discoloration. It's the original floor, the way that it looked when it was installed, the way that it should look as it was intended by you and the manufacturer when the floor was created. That's why I would like for you to test it on a tile or plank floor, because if you have a spare tile or a spare plank of that same floor in the attic, take it, place it next to that area that seems discolored. You will see that that is the exact same appearance. You don't realize that over time in that embossing, all that dirt has settled. With this simple test, you see the power of basic cleaner and what it can do. And that's the main reason behind the James Starterset, that it does include the basic cleaner, that it is not forgotten. And that's why it is so important. If you've done this test, you've seen that result, I assure you, you start to believe why it is necessary, and you know how we can get many more satisfied customers. On to our daily cleaner, the second product in the Starterset. James Floor Cleaner Clean and Quick Dry is a daily cleaning agent based on alcohol. That means your floor is cleaned perfectly and it dries up really quickly because of the alcohol in this product. The alcohol does not damage your floor. Again, all products have been tested. We have never seen damage to any floor. This product is foolproof. You can't go wrong with this product. Normally, over diluting is not good. You get problems, for instance, with all those general cleaning agents that you have in your kitchen cabinet, your all-purpose cleaner or whatever it is. The more you use, the worse the floor gets. With this product, should you over dilute, no problems. You will never get any spots. You will never get any streaks. It's simply not possible because this product leaves no residue behind on the floor. If you have an extra matte floor or an extra glossy floor and you've cleaned 1,000 times with this product, it will still have the same appearance, the same gloss or the same mattness. I do not change the appearance of your floor. It also has a very fresh smell. So if you've cleaned your floor and someone enters the room half an hour later, they still have the feeling that, hey, this is a nicely cleaned room. It is very nicely, freshly scented. A foolproof product is really what it is. We call it the daily cleaner. If you want to clean 3 times a day or once a week, that's your choice. But if you clean with this product to enjoy all these benefits. If you think you can clean in the meantime with just water or with maybe even a microfiber cloth or something, that doesn't work anymore. That trick with water and microfiber cloth, that used to work when the floors were nice and flat. But nowadays, with that embossing, even that microfiber, it doesn't get into the deeper parts of that embossing. So if you don't want to have to use basic cleaner multiple times, even more than the 2 times per year, depending on your situation, use this on every time you wipe your floor, so that at least you get the best clean out of it. Some people say, hey, if this product, this basic cleaner, cleans so well, why don't I use that one on a daily basis? I didn't explain that yet, but the main reason is basic cleaner, you need to wipe your floor twice for 1 cleaning cycle. First, you clean your floor with the basic cleaner, and then you have to wipe your floor with fresh water and a fresh cloth afterwards. So you have to remove the residue from basic cleaner. If you want to clean your floor, if you want to wipe your floor on Saturday morning, you don't want to wipe the floor twice. You just want to wipe it, let it dry, done. That's this product. If you wipe your floor with this product, I already said it dries really quickly. If you start on one end of the room, before you've reached the other end of the room, your floor is already dried up where you began. It's really a great product. This is especially useful if you have kids at home, if you have pets at home, if you're in a commercial area and people walk over the floor in 5 or 10 minutes. If you clean with this product, you know that the floor will already be dry before anyone can walk in the room again. So that's another big advantage. If you have customers that are commercial users like daycares or big companies, of course, 1 liter is nothing. We have 10-liter canisters of these products, so that works a lot better. Also good to know, the James Basic Cleaner and the James Daily Cleaner, the floor cleaner, Clean & Quick Dry, they can be used in a scrubber dryer machine as well. So if you use a machine to, if you have a larger area, use a machine to scrub your floors, these 2 products can be used in such a machine. The third product in the starter set is James Remover. James Remover is our stain remover. On a hard floor, of course, it's very easy. If you spill, I don't know, coffee, you just take a cloth, a moist cloth, you go over it, stain is gone. Great. But for all stains that you cannot remove with a cloth or with water, that's when you use James Remover. Now, in contrast to benzene or turpentine or a sticker remover or any kind of, or nail polish remover, all those products that you have in your kitchen cabinet, if you have used those products before, you have noticed that you get, maybe the stain is removed, but on the floor, you get a dull spot. Now, that dull spot will never be removed because it is damage to the floor. You can think, hey, but you just mentioned basic cleaner, back to basics. I'm sorry, that dull spot will not go away. It's like a scratch on your car. You've got the scratch, you clean your car, you wash your car, that scratch is still there. That's also with this dull spot. You can thorough clean it, but the dull spot will not go away. Your top layer, your 03, 05, 07, whatever your top layer is, it's permanently damaged. With James Remover, you do not damage the top layer. That's the biggest selling point already, but I'm also capable of removing dry nail polish, permanent marker. Even if it's been on the floor for 24 hours, you will still be able to remove it. I've never seen it not being able to be removed. Dried up paint, glue residue from glue down PVC or LVT. If you've got in the seams, you've got some glue that's come up, this is the safe way to remove it. Even after a day that a client sees, hey, there are still some glue residue left and right, safely remove it. And that's the reason why the remover is also in the starter set. So your customer has all the products he or she needs to put that floor into the best state possible. Shoe markings also. If you put the furniture in your room, you've got some black marks on the floor, James Remover will remove those as well. It's a really, really, really great stain removal product. So now you know the reason behind the starter set. It's really necessary to have the starter set, not just 1 or 2 bottles from the bigger ones, but the starter set is the complete solution for your customer. We have 3 products left. 2 products in one category, those are our polishes. That's James Semi-Gloss and James Extra Matte. This is a polish. This is a protective layer that you apply onto the cleaned top layer of your floor. You can do this as a preventative measure to protect the floor against future scratches, that any scratches that will appear on your floor from normal daily use. That's like sand under your shoes, the nails from a pet, or maybe chairs sliding over the floor. All those normal daily use scratches that might appear, they are caught by the layer that is applied onto the floor. So if that layer does not look nice anymore, you can simply remove it with basic cleaner. That goes for all products that we have, even our polishes. Those are all products. These polishes are based on one component. We don't have any two-component products. We have one component products, and all of our products, even if you mess it up with a polish, you have 2 or 3 layers and it does not look nice, no worries. You can always go back to basics. And what's more important, you don't need the use of professionals, saving a lot of money. You don't need the use of machines, saving a lot of hassle. You can simply do it by yourself with your bucket and your cloth and basically. Now, semi-gloss and extra matte, they have the same purpose, protecting the floor and making daily cleaning easier, because a polish is actually a layer that you apply onto the floor. So the embossing of the floor is actually filled up a little bit with that polish. So there are not that many deep parts of the floor anymore. It looks still the same as it has not been protected. You know, you still have that same natural look, but the embossing is filled up a little bit. That has a big advantage because your daily cleaning agent has a much easier job to clean the floor because the dirt cannot settle in that deep. So it's more easy to remove. Now, semi-gloss is the same as, for instance, Dr. Schutz's Super Matte or any other product from another manufacturer. It has the same gloss level. That means up to 4 or 5 years ago, that was perfect. But the floors, the last 4 or 5 years, have become so matte that applying semi-gloss or a competitive product will make the floor shine much more than it did when it came out of the factory. People buy the extra matte floors because they like it, so you want to keep it as matte as it came out of the factory. Now, the competition can do that with 2-component products, but 2-component is not consumer friendly. That might be nice for a commercial environment, not necessary, because we can also do that with our 1-component product, but for a consumer, in the consumer world, that's really a no-go. You want to stick to 1-component products. Now, our James Extra Matte is now already 4 years the unique product on the market that if you apply this on the newest floors that come out of the factory today, they still are, after applying our polished James Extra Matte, as matte as they originally were. That is a unique feature James has that no competitor has. 1-component product, anyone can apply it by themselves. You don't need to be a professional, and you keep your floor as matte as it was, but you get the advantages of the protection. There are 2 tricks that you could do with semi-gloss and extra matte. Let's say you've got a floor and you've had it for years, you don't like it anymore, or it's a new floor, but you don't like the appearance. It looked good in the store, it looked good on one plank that you brought home, but now that's a floor installed with the grazing light, it doesn't look the way that you wanted it to look. It's maybe too matte, or it's too glossy. If it's too glossy, apply extra matte. Of course, a high gloss floor will never become an extra matte floor when you apply extra matte. Then you should buy an extra matte floor. But we will take it down a couple steps, that gloss rate, and make it more matte than it was originally. So that might fit your wishes. If your floor is too matte, apply semi-gloss. It will lift the gloss rate a little bit and more suit your wishes. Another option can be if you've installed a floor and there is just a slight gloss difference between a couple packs. It happens. Is a good complaint from a customer, of course, a valid complaint. Or if you, some floors have that, if you flip one of the planks, you see just a little bit of a gloss difference in the planks. Of course, you don't want to take out the floor because it costs you a lot of time, costs you a lot of money. If the gloss difference between the planks is really a little bit, again, if it's extra gloss and extra matte, we're never going to be able to match that. But if it's just that little difference that does happen every now and then, if you then apply semi-gloss or extra matte, depending on your wishes, let's say extra matte because that will be the product that's sold most today. If you apply the extra matte layer, that's the new gloss layer that you will see. And if the underlaying difference is not that big, as it is sometimes between different productions, it's just a small difference, very big chance that difference will go away and you won't see it anymore without damaging or opening up the floor or replacing tiles or planks or whatever. Just apply the extra matte or semi-gloss layer and you will get a uniform gloss level again. So those are two tricks to use those products smart. We've got one other product left, James for cleaning if scratched. Well, the display tries to explain the product. What it does is the James Floor Cleaner Protect and Restore. It's not a daily cleaner. We call it a restore cleaner. That means if you only have superficial scratches on your floor, that means scratches that I cannot feel with my fingernail. I can't put my fingernail inside that scratch because then it's a deep scratch. You need to use the polish to remove those. They will be removed. Deep scratches, superficial scratches, it doesn't matter. You can remove it with semi-gloss and extra matte. This product, however, if you cannot apply a polish simply because of limitations, or you don't want to do it, because if you want to apply a polish, the room needs to be cleared out of all your furniture. Any closets or any big pieces of furniture that are completely closed up at the bottom, you don't need to remove those if they stay in the exact same position. You can leave those. But any tables, chairs, you need to, or couch, you need to remove it because you apply an additional layer onto the floor. There are, let's say, over 6 billion gloss levels in the world. The chance that extra matte, even though it's extra matte, that it will exactly match your floor, it's almost a no-go. You will always see a very small difference. So you need to do the entire room. With this product, you don't have to do clear the entire room. This product actually has the ability to restore, to camouflage superficial scratches. You use it the same as you would use our daily cleaner. So you put, in this case, it's only 50 milliliters on a bottle of water. I didn't show that yet, but on the side, we show you with those stripes how much is 50 milliliters. And here in this case is 100 milliliters on a bottle of water. And we use a different scale here to show you the 100 milliliters only. You put it, you dilute it into the bucket of water and you start to wipe your floor just as you would with this product. But this product where the floor dries up in 5 minutes, I come to the major disadvantage of this product. This is about 45 minutes. In the meantime, just with a polish, no one may walk over the floor. No baby crawling, no dog running over the floor, no fetching your car key when you need to go to work. When the floor is still wet, don't walk over the floor. This product leaves a very thin protective layer on the floor, and that layer, just as a polish, hardens out and actually becomes part of the floor up until the moment that you clean with basic cleaner, because then also this product, just like with the polishes, will be removed. But if you don't come with basic cleaner, if you clean with our daily cleaner afterwards, I will explain it, that if you finish this bottle, you just continue cleaning with this one, you cannot remove these layers. It's such a thin layer that after 1 or 2 times wiping your floor, not all scratches will go away. If we talk about superficial scratches, please just empty the bottle. It's also written on the bottle. Don't think that after 1 or 2 cleanings, all scratches will go away. It's such a thin layer that is left behind. You need a couple of layers build up. So every time you wipe your floor, you get a new layer on top. All those layers combined, so that's 10 layers in this case, because you can wipe your floor 10 times with this bottle. All those layers combined will make those scratches go away. Now, if you have finished this bottle, and that's also on the bottle, and the scratches are gone, perfect. The next bottle you buy will be our daily cleaner, the green one. And you've got all the advantage of this product without the disadvantage of the 45 minutes. This product has an extra matte appearance also. It's matte enough for the floors nowadays. It's just not quite as matte as extra matte, but much matter than semi-gloss. So for most floors, this is more than matte enough. We get no complaints. So this product can restore superficial scratches. And an example of how that product can come into play. Let's say you've given your customer a free starter set with the sale. The first time they are allowed to wipe the floor, they use the basic cleaner. That's week 1. Let's say you wipe your floor once a week. The daily cleaner, it's enough for 2 cleaning cycles. So that's week 2, week 3. The remover, you've already removed some stains left and right. So no glue residues, no paint residues from painting the floor, painting the walls, no nothing. Perfectly stain-free floor. It's spot and streakless because of the basic cleaner, and you've used the daily cleaner twice. Now, after 3 to 4 weeks, your cleaning agent is empty, and your floor is really just as out of a magazine. Really just perfect the way it was intended to be. You've used our daily cleaner as well. It smells nice, it dries quickly, no residues, etc. I know that if you give them a starter set with the sale, they will come back to your store and buy the big bottle. Now, in that practical scenario, they've come back for the green bottle, let's say 5 times, and we're 1.5 years later, something like that. They come back to the store and say, hey, I love the products, my floor is great, but I have some superficial scratches. Do you have a solution for that? Yes, of course you do. You can use the polish. That really removes all the scratches in one go. Yes, the room needs to be cleared. By the way, that also means that if the floor is just installed, that's a free moment to apply a polish. So always be sure that if you give the starter set for free to your customer as a service, also speak about applying a polish, especially if you know that they have a personal living situation like me with all my pets and kids. If you install a floor, it will get scratched in that situation. So please always speak about the polish. If they say no, okay, you've spoken about it. But we get many people that contact us. We explain the situation and they say, why was I not informed with the sale? This is then also the products that you can earn some extra money with, because this you give for free. This, of course, they have to buy. 1 bottle of semi-gloss or extra matte is just 20 square meters. So if you have a living room of 70 square meters, you need 3.5 bottles. Don't use 3. Don't use, you have to buy 4, but don't use the 4th bottle completely. Try to stick to what we recommend. 1 liter, 20 square meters. That's best. Applying more or less is not better. Stick to the plan. But you could do that, but you could also say, hey, if it's superficial scratches, I've got this one for you. This will remove your superficial scratches. Now, before you start to switch from this one to this one, you start to apply layers with this product. So what you want to do is to clean your floor first before you switch to this product with basic cleaner, to really clean that embossing and have the cleanest floor possible before starting to apply some protective layers on the floor. Let them finish that product. They come back to your store, let's say 10 weeks later, if they clean once a week. Are the superficial scratches gone? Yes, perfect. Now I sell you this bottle. Of course, you then, if you switch from this one to the daily cleaning agent, you don't use basic cleaner, because then you would remove the protective layers we just built up. So you just switch from this one to this one without using basic cleaner in between, and you have all the advantages of this product without the scratches anymore. Should the scratches not be gone after finishing one bottle, I'm sorry, but those scratches were not superficial. You would have to switch to a polish. I now have explained all these products to you with some practical examples. I'm sure that you by now have more knowledge of the James products. You've seen the display. If you have any questions, please call us or check our website. Use our many services that we have that makes us unique, like the stain search engine, etc., to find your answer. If not, call or email us and we'll help you out. I did forget one thing to tell you about, or to show you for carpet and upholstery. I told you already that all our cleaning products for carpet and upholstery don't have soap. We don't cause resoiling. This is a way to explain to you what soap does. This was a clean carpet. You see the original color here on the top and on the bottom. On the clean carpet, we applied a product based on soap, a competitive product, and we applied a product from James. We left that to air dry for 48 hours, so it was completely dry. And then you didn't see anything. So it was just a clean carpet as it is. But we made time go a little bit faster by putting this carpet inside a Tetra pot with 20 grams of European standard dirt. Believe me, there's a standard for dirt, so all the tests are, if you do them again, you can compare the results. That 20 grams of dirt is slowly released using an egg, and the Tetra pot, that's a small foot, a small piece that acts like a footstep. It goes then round in that Tetra pot and slowly releasing the dirt and walking over the carpet. This is how the clean carpet comes out. You see that the entire carpet has become dirty, logically, because dirt is attracted in the carpet fibers. But where there is residue from wrong cleaning agents, from your household cleaning agents, or sadly, still many competitive products, because soap is really cheap, well, I'm sorry, this is what soap does. Soap attracts more dirt than the original carpet, and that's why you see this sad smiley here. Over here, you see a little bit of a happy smiley. That's the residue of a James product. It's not my message that the carpet stays cleaner than the rest. My message is I do not attract dirt with my James products, and alternative products, your household products, and sadly many competitive products still use soap. Always be aware of that, because this is the end result. So that's it for this product training. I hope you have got a clear view of all the products. Again, any questions, please let us know. Thank you.